Okay, here we are in the wilds of nature. There's a flowering tree and a bird making noise. We aren't actually in the wilds of nature though. We are in a very wild and unfortunately landlocked, meaning there's no access to the alley for parking, backyard of a Capitol Hill house for sale. That's the back of the house. It's actually 4 levels. There's a basement apartment, first floor, second floor, and there's one single kind of sunroom with a bathroom and a balcony up on the top. That used to be the attic. You can see that some of the other houses nearby extend out either a lot farther or a little bit farther. Anyway, it's got this very large wild backyard. This house is for sale for around $750,000. Even though, as you see, there are all kinds of things that need to be finished off or repaired in it. It doesn't have central air. It has this back door that just goes to nowhere, and there's no landing because there's this more modern landing here. This is a huge backyard for Capitol Hill, though. I know that it's going to sound funny to people in many other parts of the country that this is $750,000, and also that that this is considered a big backyard, but it is. And the real crying shame here is that it is without parking. Well, this is funny. It's actually semi-detached. You could actually go out there to a little gate and go into the front yard. That is kind of unusual. Anyway, so there's this spiral staircase that's been cut in half probably with a welding iron so that you can do what I'm about to do, which I bet no one ever does. But almost no one's ever used this. They probably usually come in through, this is the patio for the basement apartment. They probably usually come in through the front door. Anyway, so it has this very small basement apartment. It's so hilarious because it is DC. That one of the things that somebody left behind that they had here in the kitchen, and this is a little apartment that might have actually been used as an office, even though it has a large kitchen for the size of the apartment. There's a shredder, so someone was shredding their documents. And there's a fireplace. This house is old enough, as you'll see from the floors upstairs, that this might have originally been the kitchen for the whole house. Because people used to use the fireplace to cook, and the servants were in the basement, and they brought your food up to you, and the dining room was on the first floor, but not the kitchen. So it has this little, kind of like a little front patio, except I think it's been all sealed off now, and maybe nobody goes out there. Although actually, I think this is intended to be a rental. And the idea is that somebody could actually go out this front door and up those steps. This is extremely close to the Library of Congress. We're on 5th Street. The Library of Congress is on 2nd. So it's really close. Anyway, I think this is intended to be a rental apartment, and somebody would sleep here in front of the fireplace because, the reason I think that is because there is a teeny bathroom here. Although, it's only a half bath. There's no full bath down here. So, I guess it isn't actually a separate apartment. But it is a second kitchen. Oh, you know what? It's not a second kitchen. That is the kitchen to this house. This house is still on the original plan. So here's the main level of the house. That's the front door. Here's the backyard that we just saw. And I guess this is the dining room, complete with this somewhat newer chandelier. That medallion may or may not be original. Probably isn't. And there's a sliding glass door out to this wild backyard again. So I guess you could bring your food up the way we just went down through the outside, through the basement. So I guess this is a living room. There's a little foyer. And then you go up to a second floor. And you'll see the antique hardwood floors from God knows when, 1790. There's this teeny bedroom, which once had a door, and the door is like barely 5'9" tall. So it once had a door. There might have been a little balcony out here to the outside at one time. There's another little bedroom It's on quite a lovely street. It's in Southeast, so basically we're kind of in Eastern Market, which is where Eleanor Holmes Norton lives. She lives in a house that costs twice as much and is bigger and has a curb cut in its own parking space. This is a really old bathroom. You'll see. Really old bathtub. It's a bathroom with a window to that interstitial space that's just between the two buildings. And then we have some more steps. I suppose somebody put up this piece of glass to soundproof the place. Anyway, here's something that's some kind of add-on. In fact, it might have been added on only on the back. That may be why there's only this one room. It has a little skylight that's shut up. It has this deck, again over the wild backyard. Anyway, it may have been illegal for them to change the way the house looked from the front, from the street. That's true a lot in D.C. But they can add on something like this, which is clearly new and modern, has been added on. And it gets taller as you go away from the street toward the backyard. No central air. There's the window unit. It has a somewhat bigger and more modern bathroom, although it's just a shower. Anyway, what's funny, again, mainly for people who don't live in D.C., if this had a parking space, then somebody would probably tear it down and gut it and make it look different inside. Probably even try to get a permit to build it out more. There's a magnolia tree. But it doesn't have parking. Sort of near the height of the real estate prices, which of course in D.C. never dropped. You used to have to pay a minimum of $750 to get any kind of house in Capitol Hill around 2005 or 6, or maybe even right around the beginning of 2007. I know because I was showing somebody who really wanted a parking space. Ultimately bought a large brand new condo with a parking garage in Northwest D.C. But you have to you'd had to pay back then $750 just to get a parking space in any kind of house, and actually one that was more like out 5 or 6 blocks farther from the Capitol than this. So now we're going to go out and look at the street and the front of the house, carefully taking our key with us. You can see it's a kind of yuppie Capitol Hill block. Here's what the house looks like. We're going to get a picture of it from across the street, in part to look at some artwork. It's the kind of neighborhood where people put political artwork in their yards. And this is popular in D.C. for some reason. Several years ago, people started making these giant plaster elephants and donkeys, and then they would decorate them. They'd paint them or decoupage them, in this case put wings on them, so they're kind of unique. And these people have one of each. Usually somebody has either an elephant or a donkey. So they don't have central air in this house, but they do have a jackass. In Rehoboth Beach, which is kind of the beach resort community for this area. Here's our house again. It's the gray house. Started doing mermaids and dolphins. I think mainly dolphins. Plaster dolphin statuary. Anyway, here's our little sweet Capitol house with no parking and no central air and a lot of space, although spread out kind of awkwardly for only $750,000.